sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS.
It's not personal. It's just business. If there were one thing I could get my folks, get you, No BS sales team, to remember and to think about when you're in a sales call, it is not personal. It's just business. Where a lot of people mess it up is when they get emotionally involved in a sale. And this can come in many different forms and formats, but often it means that the salesperson wants the sale maybe worse than the buyer does or your prospect does. You want it worse than they do. See, human beings are emotional creatures. We are, and we buy emotionally as well. However, if you're the salesperson, if you're the seller in the situation, emotion has no place there. Right? We follow a process. We follow a system, the No BS sales system or whatever your system is. As long as you're following a system, emotions have no place there. They have no place. So if you're going into a sale and you let your emotions get involved, right? In every single sales call, somebody's buying and somebody's selling. And if you get emotionally involved, your emotions start to rise up in the sale, it means you're all of a sudden starting to buy. You're the salesperson. I'll give you an example. I was in a sales call a couple weeks ago, screwed it up. I know it happens. But I was talking to this guy, and he had an ideal company for me. It was 15, 18 salespeople, believe in long-term training. I found a good bit of pain. But I got shuttled off to somebody else in the organization who was going to help make the decision. And this person, right? They were an information gatherer. They weren't involved in the business. They were an information gatherer. And the questions they were asking, right? So they were the ones asking questions. I was asking questions, but they were asking questions back, which is absolutely perfect. There's not a problem with that. But they're asking all the wrong questions. They're asking all the wrong questions. Stuff that doesn't matter. Stuff like, tell me about your material. How will you handle these situations? These are not the questions somebody asks when they trust you. These are not the questions somebody asks when they trust you. Ultimately, right? Sales is having somebody trust you enough to give you money to make a problem go away. And as this person was asking me these questions, I started getting mad because I was wasting time. Here's the problem, right? Sales is about getting yeses and nos, right? Does this person trust me enough to give me money to make a problem go away? If not, then we need to call it a no sooner rather than later. I hung in there though, and I found myself getting madder and madder and madder. And so my response is I was not thinking, I was reacting, I was not being proactive. What happened was I lost control. I lost control of the sale. I found myself getting defensive. It was awful. Finally, I was able to call it over. But I was mad, and I know the prospect was mad. That's not the way this needs to happen. Had I stayed professional, had I kept my emotions out of it, we would have ended that call in about 6 minutes, as opposed to the 50 minutes that it went on. And then he might have been bewildered, but not mad. And I would have done the right thing. See, we are emotional creatures, as I said, right? We are going to get that way. The goal, however, is to keep it out. Do you want your surgeon to get emotional? Do you want them to go, oh, shit, while they're doing surgery? Hell no, you don't. You want them to be calm, cool, collected, following their process. We don't want emotions involved in that. Your mechanic, you don't get emotionally involved? Hell no, he's following a process. There are no emotions involved in manufacturing. They have a process. So here's some things to think about emotional involvement. It can happen in a couple of ways. One, and this happened to me 2 months ago when I was trying to buy a truck. I was talking to the sales guy, and he said, sure would be great if you could buy this thing, by the end of the month, because I could really use the sale. Shit. I was like, man, that's terrible. Why'd you tell me that? And all of a sudden, my respect for him went away. He needed the sale. I promise the same thing will happen to you. If you appear needy, people will flee from you. Nobody wants to deal with a needy salesperson unless they think they can just beat the hell out of him. This is why people that are new in sales, what my friend John Sterling calls noobs, people that are new in sales get crushed. It's hard as hell because you want the sale. You want to get points on the board. You want to prove your value. Right? But you don't get much practice doing that. We get lots of practice at the very front end of a sales call, which is hear and no all the time, getting hung up on. When we finally get in a meeting, a lot of times emotions take over. Oh my God, I'm finally in a sales call. Hope I don't screw this up. Right? If that's the way you feel, chances are you're going to screw it up. You cannot let people pierce your veil. My buddy John Palumbo has this great story, very illustrative story, where he says that I want you to picture yourself inside a castle with tall walls and a moat, and only you get to choose who has a key to your castle. Who do you let in to your vulnerable self to attach with you emotionally? Right? And so we should not be giving that key to our prospects. There's no way. Our job is to get yeses and nos. And if it's not a yes, then it's a no. That's unemotional. Here's what I want you to remember. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's the next person I need to be talking to? Emotions will not help you in a sale. Here's what I want you to think about. If you want to get excited before you go, great. Do your pre-call plan. Have a plan. As soon as either you push the buttons to dial out, or you knock on or you open up the door of their office, or they open up the door to yours, you let them in, say, boom, I'm done. I'm a robot now. But don't take me too literally, but you can't care whether you live or die in the moment. You have to be prepared that maybe things aren't going to go as you planned. Maybe they don't have pain. Maybe there's no budget. Maybe it's the wrong time. Maybe you didn't figure out a way to connect. But whatever that is, if it's not a yes, quite frankly, if it's not a hell yes at the end of your first call, it should be a no. Yeses and nos. Everything else is a waste of your time. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank y'all for listening. Please share this. I hope you have a wonderful new year. If you want some help, if your sales team needs some help, you think they could be better and you want to be better, or you, yourself, salesperson, entrepreneur, you say, you know what? The thing that's holding me back, I need to be better at sales. Pick up the phone and call me, 803-917-2817, or send me a message at any of the social media channels. Look forward to talking to you.
Thanks for listening to No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.